about a few minutes. Okay, so.
Wait, can we grade 11 more?
No, can you stop talking?
Can you?
We'll talk about it later. Okay.
Perfect way to say.
Let's talk about it later. Okay, let's roll hard into 11.5. Volumes of prisms and cylinders. Area is how many things multiply together? Two things multiply together, right? Length times width, base times height, apothem times perimeter, whatever it is. Lateral area or lateral edge times perimeter. So area is two things multiplied together. Volume is how many things multiplied together? 3. So it would be like the length, the width, and the height of something. If it was a rectangle, that would tell you the volume. Volume tells you how much space is in the air, if you will. The volume of a pool. The volume of a, I don't know, not many people have pools. The volume of the classroom. Not that helpful. The volume of cereal box. Volume of the cup. The volume of your Nalgene. Okay, so the volume tells you how much, if you will, one thing you can think about is like how much liquid you can fit in there. Now, there's other things like volume. If anybody in the, I wish I was into kayaking. I've done a little bit, but I'm afraid of dying in the water. I shouldn't be, but I just have that fear. So if you're into anybody like diehard kayaker, okay. But if you're a diehard kayaker or even into rafting and things like that, what you'll check is the volume flow of the river. Because in the springtime, what happens to the river in the springtime? The river goes up, which means there's more volume of water going through, which means it's faster, which means different things. Could be more dangerous, could be less dangerous, just depends. So what they measure that in is cubic feet per second. So it's a cubic foot of water going through per second. How many cubic feet of water are flowing past a certain point per second? So CFS, cubic feet per second. You don't have to know that for the test, but you might look at the Albertine Gorge. Has anybody rafted the Albertine Gorge? Okay, well, if you do, usually like your water flows are like in July, they're like 5,000 CFS, cubic feet per second, 5,000 gallons, cubic gallons, gallons of water are flowing past a certain point per second. In the springtime, it's like 20,000. So you have, it's just mass amounts of water flowing. So a cubic foot, though, what's a cubic foot? Well, it's a cube made by 1 foot by 1 foot by 1 foot, right? So a cubic foot. If you go by a cubic yard of dirt, like we're going to buy some dirt for our landscaping, it's going to be in cubic yards. So when they say, hey, you're going to get 1 yard of dirt, do they take a little strip of dirt and measure out 3 feet? No, it's a cubic yard, right? So 1 yard of dirt, 1 yard of gravel is 3 feet by 3 feet by 3 feet. That's how much dirt you get. So when you go to landscape and you're like, hey, we need to figure out how many cubic feet we need. So we're going to do a raised garden bed, which we're going to do, or a ground garden bed. We need to figure out, okay, if it's 6 inches high and 4 feet wide and 8 feet long, how much dirt do we need? How many cubic feet of dirt? So that's volume, okay? So volume of prisms and cylinders. So again, how many things are multiplied into volume? 3. So with this then, volume is 11.5. Volume of a prism. Now remember, the prism has different bases. A lot of times we just draw, and you don't have to draw this, but you draw like a cube. So it'd be length times width times height. And you don't have to draw that, but that's a lot of times we show that because it's easy to draw. But that base could actually be a pentagon. It could be a hexagon. It could be a triangular base, right? So it doesn't just have to be that. So when we talk about the volume of a prism, that base could change. And so what we state is, instead of saying, oh, well, the volume of a prism is length times width times height, L times W times A. Well, that's if it's a rectangular base, then it's length times width times height. But if it was something different, like a pentagonal base, there would be a different formula to find the area. So you can't just say, oh, it's length times width times height for the volume of a prism. You have to say it's the area of the base, good, Nish, times the height of whatever the object is, because height will be universal. The area of the base could change. That's the volume of a prism. Now the volume of a cylinder, the base, we've talked about this several times now, but the volume of a cylinder, what is the volume of a cylinder?
Pi r squared times h.
Okay, pi r squared times h. So no longer do you just have volume with an area of a base. We always know the area of the base of the cylinder. What's the area of the base of a cylinder? It's always a circle, therefore it's always pi r squared. So it's area of the base times the height. Questions? Maybe once we do a couple examples. Questions, comments, concerns, emotional problems? Yes? Okay.
Math means mental abuse to humans.
Yes.
Okay.
Mental abuse.
It's an acronym.
Never heard that.
Mental abuse. What's the T though?
Mental
Two.
abuse to
Mental abuse
humans.
Oh.
to humans.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's mental abuse humans.
Yeah.
Is that cheese?
It's
Oh, another block of cheese. Can't get away from the cheese.
Yeah, but those in miles, because that would be a heck of a big.
Calm down, Micah.
The cake is alive.
You
You
want
really
grade?
like cheese would make
Yes.
sense. However, a mile is more cheese.
Okay, here we go.
The teacher's pet.
Did you enjoy the
Now,
basketball?
what we have is what?
Did you enjoy the basketball?
Did you
Yeah, I did for the most part.
your shorts?
You did pretty well.
My shorts.
Oh yeah.
They were a
Man.
little short.
They don't
They were
bother me,
good.
but you got some
They're just running shorts.
Yo, man.
You know the glasses? They don't bother you?
You look
Yes.
so much smarter.
I didn't want them.
I've never seen you
You
in
I've
glasses.
never seen you glasses.
I've never worn them in here.
No.
I've had them for 2
You
years.
look so
Yeah, you
I
would.
I've worn them, I think, 4 times.
Your glasses look like mine.
so intelligent.
They look like my glasses in here?
Elson, why did you only like it for the most part?
Yeah,
The
what's the
teacher
most
said.
part?
Yeah. What's the small part that you didn't like?
I think sometimes,
You think you would look smarter if you
The staff.
yeah, exactly, and they just can't help themselves. Did you notice? I mean, could you tell? Could you tell I wasn't playing too hard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kinda.
I don't know. Like, there's a time and a place for playing hard, and a time and a place not to play hard.
He
Just
just
have
got
fun.
like 5 times.
He was amazing.
So,
I
just wanted to
So
Who was
It
the
gets less
who
and
was
less
the
impressive.
guy with the giant? Even
Jayton?
Yeah.
Jayton?
Even the
Oh,
seniors.
Mrs. Simpson's husband. She works in the.
Elementary. Yeah.
The
Probably
girls,
Marvin.
junior high.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's go. Keep going. If we have here, what is the base? Is the base going to be this rectangle, or is it going to be the triangles? Triangles, right? Because to recognize the base, you got to figure out where is it the same on the top and the bottom. So this rectangle is not found over on the other side, right? It's like a wedge of cheese. This rectangle may be, almost looks like it could be on the other side, but we recognize that is not going to be the same as that because of the triangular shape. So therefore the base is the triangle here and the triangle there. So I need to find the area of the base and the height. Well, do I already know the height of the whole object? Yeah, what's the height of the whole object?
8.
8. Very good. So this is where we need to find, this is where Mrs. Elson would.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? What are you doing?
Thinking.
Thinking. She never
Thinking?
thought.
Yeah.
And then it would like tee off on.
Then we take a
She
quiz.
tell us
told me to
something.
think. but
Like,
I
you know, she said
I was
that
thinking
one.
too
Then I'd be
much.
like-
Like 10 of those.
Okay. We're making headway. All right. So volume volume is equal to area of the base times the height. I already know the height. The height you just told me is 8. I gotta find the area of the base. Now the area of the base, capital B, in this case is the triangle. Let's just identify that. Now I need to find the area of the triangle. If you want to rewrite the triangle, can prove helpful. Just draw it out real quick. Shouldn't take too long to do that. For most of us, we say, okay, there's my triangle. Find the area of that triangle. Well, what's the formula for the area of a triangle?
Base times height.
Divided by 2.
Yeah, base times height divided by 2. So 1/2 base times height, or base times height divided by 2. Either way is fine. So now I need to figure out what's the base of this triangle, what's the height of the triangle.
9 and 9.
You can either do SOHCAHTOA or recognize that what kind of triangle is it? 30, 60, 90, which goes a little bit quicker than SOHCAHTOA. So if we do 30, 60, 90, what do we know this length is here? 1/2 of 18, so it is 9. And what do we know this length is? 9√3. You can definitely do SOHCAHTOA. Let's reference SOHCAHTOA in case you forget the 30, 60, 90s. And what if this was 70 degrees, 20 degrees, then you couldn't do 30, 60, 90. You'd have to do SOHCAHTOA. So maybe let's just right underneath here, sorry, I got a few things going. If I was to do trigonometry, let's say, okay, I didn't know that, I didn't know that, and I'm going to do trig instead of 30, 60, 90, what would be a trigonometric function I could set up?
Cosine of 30 times
Cosine of 30
times 18. Or it equals 1/2.
Oh yeah.
Cosine, remember our acronym, what's cosine?
SOHCAHTOA.
So,
Cos.
what's cos stand for?
Adjacent over.
Cosine equals adjacent, so this would be we'd call this our base over the hypotenuse, so b over 18. Now that's not going to give you a radical answer like 9√3, it'll give you a decimal answer, but this will give you, go ahead for practice, everybody should go 18 times cosine of 30 degrees, do that on your calculator, and give me the decimal answer for that. Cosine, you don't have your calculator out? Just give me a hard time. Actually, get your calculator out. Here we go.
Yeah,
15.588.
Yeah.
Okay, what we know then though is if we did the 30, 60, 90, we already said that was 9√3. We'll check 9√3 in your calculator. 9 times the square root of 3, it should equal 15.5888. Okay, should be the same thing. Now, to find the height here, this height, using SOHCAHTOA, what would I do? Okay, sine of 30 degrees equals
18 over.
h,
Or
Over it.
opposite over hypotenuse, h over 18.
yeah.
And Mish, that's where the sine of 30 is 1/2. You can check it on your calculator, but it'll be 1/2. So 18 times the sine of 30. Sine of 30 is always 1/2. Therefore, h is equal to 9. And if you're like, how does he know it's 1/2? You'd have to go back to the previous 8-4 lecture, I think, when I really emphasized why the sine of 30 is 1/2. But that's okay. You don't have to know that. You can have a calculator that'll tell you that the sine of 30 is 1/2.
Thank God.
Yeah. So, all right. So then, what I know is the area of the base is 1/2 base times height, which what did we say the height was? 9. Let me get rid of that. So 1/2 9√3 times 9. That's the area of the triangle right there.
81.
And then times 8. What is that?
561.18.
What is it?
561.18, I believe. Could be wrong.
You have
been-
been.
And I didn't put units on this, but it'd be units cubed. Anybody else have an answer for us? I'm not disagreeing with Trevor, but I'm not agreeing with Trevor. I don't agree with you, Trevor.
Okay.
I agree with you, Trevor.
Oh, but he's just gonna go with the common answer.
What do we think?
I think
Yeah,
it's
that
Yes.
seems right.
We're feeling good about it?
Mhm.
Yes.
What's the popular opinion?
Okay, let's do this. Do this. This is kind of a good one.
Oh
Oh no.
Oh no.
There's two
My
of them.
bad.
Mishi went and done.
Okay, there's a hole in the middle.
You what? The child.
Oh my God.
So true, yeah.
I am so dumb.
Oh, that's so close.
I figured out.
I'm gonna Stevensville in second grade.
Alright
I didn't know.
You should know what you're gonna do.
I'm just ignoring what you're talking about because it sounds like it's probably inappropriate. And so no need to even, it's okay, yeah, just zero need to point anything out like that. And then also if somebody points out something inappropriate, sexual, just ignore it. Be like, yeah, wow, okay, just ignore it. Yeah, I'm raising my eyebrow too, actually. It's like, what? I don't know, but it just sounded somewhat, controversial and sexual and inappropriate. So I chose to ignore it for a little bit, but now I'm going to address it and say, shut your mouth. Enough. Yelling? Absolutely not. Directive tone? You bet. Okay, moving on. Now, we want to find the volume. Does the volume entail the middle part? No. So it's like a shading problem with area. So what we want to do is we want to find the volume, if you will, of the outside part here, right? But to do that, what might we do? Anybody have a suggestion?
Find the radius.
Okay, radius, yeah, that'd be good. The big picture. I'm thinking big picture, but you're right. We're going to need to find the radiuses. That's good. We're going to get there. Big picture.
Find the volume of the hole and
Volume of the total, okay?
and the cylinder and the hole. And
Okay.
then you subtract the hole from the cylinder.
Okay, so then find the volume of the hole, and that will find, let's just say the volume of the outside. Does that work?
Yeah.
Okay, that'll find the volume of the outside. So you bet, we gotta find the volume of the total thing, and then subtract the volume of the central hole there, and then we have the then we'll have the volume of just that outside portion. So Elijah mentioned, hey, find the radius. So what's the radius of this guy?
3.
Okay, that's gonna be 3, squeeze it in there. And then what's the radius of the bigger one? 5 for the radius of the bigger one, right? So there's 5. So now, to find the volume, you just go pi r squared h. Well, h on both of them is going to be what? 12. So what is the volume total? Let's start with that. Pi r squared h. And you just told me h is going to be 12 on both of them. So what's pi, and then, so what's r for the total one? 5. Okay. And then what is volume of the hole is going to be pi r squared h. We already know the height is 12. So what's the r there? 3. Nice. Now, if they wanted it in terms of pi, you could do that. You would just say 25 times 12, 9 times 12, and then subtract them and just treat pi like a variable x. If you just do a decimal answer, that's fine. I'm okay with that. So that will give us the volume of the outside. So you just crank all that in your calculator and then hit enter, and what do we end up with? Asher.
603.18 centimeters cubed.
Good. In this case, I gave us a little m for meters, and it is absolutely meters cubed because there's 3 things multiplied together. There's a radius, and a height. Yeah.
That's the final answer.
What's up?
Isn't it the final answer?
Yeah, that's the final answer.
Not of the entire thing, just like.
Yeah, I just wanted the volume of the outside, which is what we did. We did this, the total minus the whole gives us the volume of the outside.
Because that's what I got for the answer.
That is the answer. What?
Not of the outside of the whole thing.
Oh, that's what you got for the whole thing? I don't think so. Because the whole thing, the volume of the total would be 25 times 12 times pi. What is 25 times 12 times pi give you? That's for the 942 or something?
947, yeah.
Because that's the total. This
Okay,
is
sorry, yeah.
because you were thinking this meant the total.
Of the outside, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's.
Tracking?
Yeah.
Okay. Confusion. Pretty straightforward. Okay, I think I'm gonna pause there. The only thing I'm gonna show you, you don't need to draw this picture, but you'll have, some that'll look like this and like this, like that, whatever, dotted like that. Okay, so when you see a picture like this, what's the base? The two triangles on the edge, right? So a lot of times people look at this and say, this is my base. Okay, but you have to think which one is the same on the top and the bottom. So you say, well, this triangle, if I flipped it up, same as, I'm just looking at this, which would be even better. Where's my base? You just take this and go, oh, now the base is the triangle and the triangle. Okay, so you'll have some of those. All right, will this be on your quiz?
No.
Nope. So do you need to memorize volume formulas? Nope. The only thing you need to pay attention to is area formulas. I haven't decided yet. There may be a chance I give you the area formulas but not tell you what they apply to. You just need to figure out which one is which. I may write them all on the board and then at least you have them. Why don't we just go with that? Monday I'll give you all the formulas. But you will, it'll look like this, except we don't need to know volume, but I won't write anything about it. You'll have to say, oh, that's for a volume of a circle. Or a cylinder, I'm sorry. So I'll give you the formulas on the board. You have to figure out which ones are which. Okay? If I forget Monday, just say, hey, remember you're going to put the volumes on the board? I'll say, oh yeah, I forgot, sorry.
And will they be on for the whole test? Not just
What?
No, just for the first 5 minutes.
I guess it's a valid question. Would I write them and then erase them?
Why is that?
Do they?
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'll give you 5 minutes to have the cheat sheet or something. I see.
Who has done that?
I mean, I did one time. I said, okay, open note for 5 minutes or something. I did that once in my 18 years of teaching.
In your what?
18 years of teaching. I'll put them on the board the whole time.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good. That's
Whole
good.
time.
Sweet.
Cool.
For like algebra.
But again, will I tell you what they are? No, Elijah, question.
So
And I'll be kind to you.
for something like the triangle thing,
Uh-huh.
could you do like the area of the base times the height divided by 2, or would that not work?
Oh, because it's half of trying to think of it as half of
Yeah.
They're in the 11.6 volumes of pyramids and cones. That's where we end up with other formulas, like 1/3 of the area of the base times the height. That's for a pyramid.
Because I was
If
thinking
you
the
took the
same thing.
rectangular.
Because you could also do
But it would be, because you'd be missing that portion, and you'd be missing this portion out here.
Mhm.
Wait, I thought, wouldn't it just be one of those?
Yeah, or we just divide them by.
No, because
No, I
it's
guess
both
it's-
at an angle.
Which would be the same.
So
same thing with a cylinder.
Do you know how to
But
But-
since it's multiplication, couldn't you just divide it to whatever you wanted to?
Pi?
that might be a third rather than a half.
What was it called?
And for a cylinder, could you do like
You know?
It's
the area of the height and the width times the circumference?
Well, that's, we multiply that times 6
Or times half the circumference?
and then times that.
Define volume.
Yeah, times volume.
Okay. So you're saying
The width times the height.
What?
Yeah.
The width? You mean the radius or
Or the width of the whole thing.
Oh, it doesn't.
the diameter?
Yeah, the diameter times the height, and then times half the circle.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know how you would. But you could possibly. You could just test it and see, do the method for here and here and see if you get that. I'm wondering on that one. Let me crank out, I'll put some numbers on this, Elijah, and then we can look at your formula for this one, because that could possibly work for that one. Let me put,
What does this do? Is this gonna be used on Monday?
I think Tuesday.
not Monday, because we will have the quiz rolling hard on Monday. But if we did 24, 32, and 20, 20.
All Monday, yeah.
So, if we did 20,
Oh, I'm doing number 10. That's so nice. They're all hot.
Can we grade a little?
Not right now.
Okay.
Give me some time. I'm working.
You.
16. The height is 16. So then 24 times 32. Area the base times the height. 16. But that is going to be way too much. 2. And that's going to be 6,000. That's going to be. We have.
Yeah.
So Elijah, I think that will work for divided by 2. Because now that I'm looking at it here, if you look at this extension out there,
Yeah.
that extension, that chunk right there, is the same as that chunk right there. And there's this one and this one. So then you would be doubling it. So you could divide by 2 then.
Okay.
Yep, so that would work. Not 3. 3 is when we're dealing with the pyramid.
It's not gonna be the exact same.
Now, I want to be careful, because what if this wasn't an isosceles triangle? What if this was like 22 and this one was 20? Let's think through that one for another one. With the isosceles, I think definitively I'm going to tell you it works. But with a non-isosceles, I'd have to be a little careful with it. And I don't know about the cylinder one. I'm a little confused what you're doing, but you can mess with this thing later. Oh, perfect.
Sorry, I got that.
No, that's no problem. I don't know.